Hey everybody, this is Paya from Your Own Pathway. So I'm excited to be here today. This is actually my first episode for my podcast and my second episode for my YouTube channel, which I wanted to forging your own pathway. So I wanted to do this episode because I wanted to share my story about the decisions that I am making with my body. And I know that if I'm going through this, many of you other women are also going through this also. And I wanted to say that my intention of doing this episode is to really educate so that all of you who are watching this could be informed on what is best for them. And I want to clarify that I am not a medical doctor, and what you decide to do is what you decide to do with your body. And it's best to get medical advice on whatever it is that you feel that is best for your body. So, a little bit about me is that I just turned 41 in October. And for anybody else who is out there who just turned 40 or are in their late 30s or in their 40s, 50s, whatever, I'm sure you all are dealing with changes in your body. And I noticed the change in my body 2 years ago when I turned 39. So, 2 years ago, in the winter of 2022, I noticed that in the dead of winter, I was getting hot. I was getting hot, I was getting sweaty, and even without the heat on, I needed to open the windows because I was so hot while I was sleeping. And the previous winters, I used like 3 blankets to keep me warm. 2 years ago, at the age of 39, I only needed two. I only needed 2 blankets to sleep and keep me warm. And I knew that something was different for me. I noticed that I was getting hot. I noticed that it was getting harder for me to sleep throughout the night. And I also noticed subtle changes in my body that I really didn't notice until I really started noticing. And again, so 2022, we were, recovering from COVID. And so I thought that my body was just different because I was recovering from COVID, being less active, and all the changes to my body was because of COVID. And some of it is true. Some of it was true. The fact that I didn't work in the office anymore. I work from home. And so a lot of the physical activity that I was used to, I was accountable for, which I was okay with. I was pretty good about walking. I was pretty good about going to the gym. I had a membership at the Y, and so I was good about doing that. And yet, even through all of this, I kept noticing subtle things about my body that just really made me question what my body was going through. And one of the things I really noticed was I was tired. I was tired constantly, and I would need an afternoon nap by like 2 p.m. I would need a afternoon nap. And granted, in 2022, I started my own business in September 2022. So I was busy, but I felt like I just had that afternoon crash. And I don't know a lot about you, but for a lot of you, but I just noticed that I had this afternoon crash where I just was so tired and so exhausted that if I could nap, I would have napped like probably 2, 3 hours if I could. And I noticed that. I also noticed that I started gaining weight. Like it wasn't just weight that was like slowly creeping. It felt like it just kind of hit me, like the weight just kind of hit me. And for those who don't know, I've always been very steady. Like I've always been very steady. I've never been a skinny person. That's just how my body was. But I've always been very consistent from probably the age of like late 20s to about 38. I remain constant. If I needed to lose weight, I just did a few things. I exercised more, I increased my activity, I watched what I ate less, and it was easy. It was so easy. And then at the age of 39, that didn't work for me, me anymore. I did all the things that society and what I've been told that works. I did all that and nothing worked for me. And when you do things that used to work in the past and what people tell you works and it doesn't work, you start to feel bad. You start to feel bad, you start to question, you start to ask, what am I doing wrong? Is it me? What's wrong with me? And so when you start thinking that way, you have a lot of guilt, you have a lot of shame, you start feeling demoralized, and you start thinking, I'm doing something wrong. Something is wrong with me. And yet people are telling me, and I feel like, am I lazy? Am I just lazy? Is that why? This is not the weight's not coming off. Am I just not working hard enough? And so you have a lot of self blame when things that used to work don't work anymore. And so I was going through this. And then in the summer of 2023, in the summer when I was 39, I decided to enlist and get a personal trainer because even though I was going to the YMCA, I was doing all these exercises, nothing was changing for me. I did my cardio, I did my weights, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I drank my water, I did everything that I was supposed to do, and nothing was working. As a matter of fact, I think I gained weight. And I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Maybe it's not me after all. And so I started having conversations with my friends who've been through this, and I started asking, do you think it could be my hormones when I told them what I was going through? And they're like, yes, yes. And I was like, but I'm only 39. Is this something that is normal? Don't we go through all of this like when we're in our mid 40s or like when we're close to menopause? And a lot of them replied, said, no, my body started changing when I hit my late 30s to early 40s. Things really started happening. And I was like, okay. And so I really started thinking, I'm like, maybe it is my hormones. Maybe it is my hormones because I started, again, I got really hot at night. I couldn't sleep well. I had a lot of brain fog. I mean, things that I set down, I'll be like, where did I put it? Like, where did I put it? I mean, even right now, as I'm talking to you guys, I don't know where my other earpiece for my earpod is. Like, that's my right one. I only have my left one, and my right one is my good ear. So even now, I don't know where my like AirPod is for my right ear. I also notice really subtle things too that I never noticed before. Besides being tired, I was hungry a lot. I was hungry a lot, which I'm like, why am I always hungry? I'm always hungry and I'm always tired. Like something's going on with me. My hair, I didn't notice anything with my hair. I noticed that I was losing a little bit more. However, I've always had really thick hair. So the only time I really lost hair when it was when I was taking a shower. Um, Another thing that I noticed was my even though I was working out with my personal trainer, for some reason I felt like I was getting heavier and I felt like I improved, like my stamina improved, my posture, I got stronger, my day-to-day functioning improved. And yet I felt like something still wasn't right for me. And I did go see my regular doctor. They did labs and everything, and nothing was out of the norm. Like, even my blood pressure was norm. It was like it wasn't even borderline. It was like a little higher, but they're like, it's actually okay. Like my blood sugars were okay too. My labs basically were okay. They're like, you're very stable, like nothing's going on. You are, all your lab work is good. Besides the fact that, yes, you are on the heavier side and you are working out with a personal trainer, everything is good. And I'm like, okay, everything's good. And I thought, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? So, of course, when your labs are good, you're thinking, okay, maybe it is me. Maybe it is me. Something's just going on, or maybe it's all in my imagination. I think a lot of us women, we tend to gaslight ourselves about our bodies, especially when we go to a doctor and the doctor tells us there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. And you're like, okay, it's all in my head then, right? It's all in my head. I'm imagining things. And so I wasn't imagining things, and I knew something had to change. I didn't know what, but I knew this is something had to change. I was working out. I was I even gave up alcohol. Okay, that's when I knew that something was going on, because I gave out alcohol for like 4 months. And for anybody who knows me, they know I love my Cosmos. Okay, they know I love my Cosmos, and for 4 months, so that's a whole season right there, I did not have any alcohol. And you know what they say? Oh yeah, when you stop drinking alcohol, you're gonna lose weight. All this is gonna happen for you. Nothing. Nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to me. As a matter of fact, I'm just like, did I gain more weight? Like, did I actually gain more weight because I gave up alcohol? And so my body wasn't like doing the things that I thought it would do, that society and everybody else told me that would happen if I just gave up certain things, if I increased my exercise, if I watched what I ate, if I moved more. I did all of that. I did all of that. And nothing was happening for me. And so I actually had a conversation with a friend who started seeing a naturopathic doctor. And this friend was saying, my God, like my life has changed since I started seeing a naturopathic doctor. This doctor goes through my labs, and I get all these labs done, and I found out what was going on with me. And now I'm on these medications. I'm on hormone replacement therapy, and that has helped me so much. I was like, oh, okay. And another thing was my my menstrual cycles. My menstrual cycles have always been very, very, very painful. And I knew something was going on with me because my PMS symptoms, yes, I'm going to talk about PMS. I'm going to talk about PMS. I'm going to talk about my PMS symptoms and how that impacted my quality of life. That's when I knew something was going on, was my PMS symptoms. I noticed that I always seemed to be uncomfortable. And that was my number one indicator for me that something was going on. Something was going on in my body because of my PMS symptoms. I don't know about you ladies who have, how your PMS symptoms were, but I would have, I swear, I would always be uncomfortable. I had maybe one good week being symptom free, and then everything started coming back, like everything, and I could not catch a break. I could not catch a break. I was always sore. I always felt bloated. I always felt like my back was hurting. I always felt like I was carrying so much water. I always felt like I was hungry for like salty stuff or for like very sweet stuff. And I always had something going on. And I'm like, is this normal? Is this normal to always have these symptoms? Is it normal to always be uncomfortable? And so I really started researching perimenopause. And I started asking actually about my symptoms and researching and at what age could you have perimenopause? And I found out that it could be your late 30s, early 40s. Like it's like 39 to like 45 when you start showing these symptoms. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I I believe I have perimenopause. And I think for so long we've been told that we're too young to have perimenopause. Like we're too young to have these symptoms. And yet when I did all this research and looked at all the symptoms, I'm like, that's how I feel though. That's how my body feels. Like I'm never comfortable. My body has one good week of being symptom free and then everything comes back and just my quality of life was so awful. And I started wondering, I'm like, is getting a hysterectomy the only thing for me to feel symptom free, to not feel uncomfortable, to not feel the way that I'm feeling? And someone mentioned, maybe you need to go on hormone therapy, or maybe you need to try like naturopathic ways. And I thought, okay, you know what? That's something that I would like to try. I mean, I go to my primary care provider, and every time I ask them a question, I felt dismissed. Like, oh, yeah, your labs are okay. Oh, that's part of being a woman. How many of you women have heard that? It's part of being a woman, and that's something that you learn how to deal with. I've been told that for so long about my period pain, and the only thing that they can give me was birth control pills. It's like, here you go, here's some birth control pills, and your symptoms should, lessen. And so during this period of time that I was going through, I was not on the pill anymore, which the pill really did help with managing my symptoms. And at the age of 39, I was going through a lot of work transitions and everything. And I thought, is this something that I want to be on? And so because I wasn't on, maybe that impacted how my symptoms were too. And like, I think the women in my family, especially my mother and my aunts, they have a history of having terrible, painful periods. And I haven't been tested, and I would not be surprised if I have endometriosis because I've always had painful, painful periods where it debilitated me, where I couldn't go to school or I couldn't go to work, and it was so painful. And I would have to take so much ibuprofen before I even start my period. Like once I know that it's gonna come, I have all these symptoms. I'm like, I need to start taking these like pills, like ibuprofen. So and so I took a lot of I took pills. And so my point is that I haven't been hurt. I haven't been listened to from medical providers, especially in, I would say, big hospitals like primary care provider. Maybe that's not their specialty or whatever it is, being dismissed, being gaslighted about the pain, how you're feeling, your symptoms. It's like, okay, yeah, just take this and this should stop. And I decided that instead of managing the symptom, I wanted to find the root cause. I wanted to find the root cause. I wanted to find the foundation of my body. And so I decided that, you know what? I know it's an investment. I know it's out of pocket. I'm going to go see a naturopathic doctor. And I did go see a naturopathic doctor. And what I found from this doctor changed my life. Changed my life. They, the doctor ordered a really deep lab where it looked at everything, like everything that you can imagine. And not surprisingly, I have a low thyroid. I had like high cortisol. I was low in iron. My body was like out of whack, basically. My body was out of whack. And that explained a lot about what I was going through, how I was feeling, what my body was. And this doctor sat down with me for about an hour and a half, yes, an hour and a half, to go through everything and explain what was going on in my body. And some of it, honestly, I didn't understand because it was like very medical, but I understand the gist of it. And so the main thing was my thyroid was low. And because my thyroid was low, that's why I was gaining weight. I was always tired. I was hungry. That's why I swear, like my stomach was like, it's not like my old stomach anymore. It's like a new new type of stomach. And so she was explaining all this, and she was like, yeah, this is why you've been crashing, and this is why this is what's happening. After that was told to me, I felt this release. I felt this release and relief that, oh my God, it's not me. All this time, I thought there was something that I was maybe just lazy, that I was just not working hard enough, that maybe I would just wasn't putting enough effort into my body. And I'm making excuses for my body. And the sad thing was, as women, we're always judged for our body. We're always judged for what we do, what we don't do, what we try, what we don't try. Regardless of what we do, we're judged. And I was judged so much for my weight gain. I was judged so much from family, mainly family, who were saying, you can't use your hormones and it's just as an excuse for not losing weight. And I was just like, F you. F you. You have no idea what I'm going through. And so, as I was saying, as women, we get judged for everything. We get judged for what we do, what we don't do, um, what we try, what we don't try. And so I was shamed a lot for my weight gain, the changes in my body. People were just making assumptions about what I'm not doing. And so when I was educated on what was happening in my body, there was a relief, like, oh my gosh, wow, it's not all just in my head. It really is happening. Why I've been so tired, why I feel so unmotivated, why I feel as though I could sleep all day, why I had brain fog, why I couldn't remember things. There's a medical reason, there's a hormonal reason why I was feeling this way. And once I found out, I felt such relief. And one of the things that was actually offered to me was medication to help with weight loss. And at first I was kind of like, no, I'm not doing that, because there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of shame and stigma in medications, I think with like psychotropic meds for weight loss, for any type of medication. And there's a lot of judgment on that. And so this was May. This was May of this year, May of 2024, when I saw this naturopathic doctor, and she provided me with all the options, like so many options. She educated me and really gave me the information that I needed to make what decision was best for me. And at that time, weight loss medication was an option for me to help with my physical body. And I declined. I was like, I don't want that. I'm already exercising. I'm already doing the things that I need to do. I am doing the best I can, and I don't want to rely on medication because to me that's not necessary. And my doctor was like, "Okay, that's fine. If you ever change your mind, it's always an option." And that was in May. That was in May. And so, as a result of that, I was on medication. I was on thyroid medication for my low thyroid. I was given progestin to help manage my symptoms, my PMS symptoms, and I had a cycle on my progestin. I was not on estrogen. I was actually taking off the estrogen because I was notified that my estrogen was actually a little high and my progesterone was low. So I was given progestin, and then I was giving vitamins and everything over the counter to take. And the thyroid medication has been life changing. Once I started going on it, I noticed a change. Like I felt like my body was a little lighter. I felt like I was slowly losing a little bit of weight. And so I took it through the summer, and then it was completed in September. And so I was off it for a few weeks because I had to do labs again. And I noticed the changes in my bodies after not taking um, when I stopped taking the thyroid medication. I noticed that, I noticed like I felt heavy and bloated again, like how I was feeling in May. And it was not a good feeling. It was not a good feeling. And I had my labs done again, and they're like, yeah, it's still low. And I think it's a medication that I will always be on. And honestly, I am okay with that. I am okay with being on thyroid medication if it means that I'm going to function, if it means that I'm not going to crash, if it means that it's going to help with the symptoms that I struggle with. And yes. And I also decided that, you know what? The weight loss medication was an option for me. And back in May, I was so resistant against it. I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. Now, in when this comes out, it'll be November. Now I'm actually considering it. I'm considering it because I thought to myself, all of this started in 2022. It's been 2 years. And do you want to wait another year and have this conversation with yourself and say, where could you have been if you only had dot, dot, dot? I've had those conversations with myself of late. And I told myself, forging my own path, and this includes my body. When you forge your own path, it's very holistic. And that's why I'm discussing this. Forging your own path is holistic. It's your body, it's your spirit, it's your emotion, your psychological, it's your sexual, it's your financial, whatever it is that is part of your life. And I want to not live with regret, especially with my body. And I realized that I've had lots of regrets with my body. And I thought, wow, I knew I had to get educated about my body, and yet, where would I be if I had just started my personal trainer sooner? If I had just taken the medication sooner? If I had just taken the thyroid medication sooner? If I had just like this and this and this? And I didn't want to have regrets. I didn't want to ask myself and say, imagine if you had started this 2 years ago, a year ago, even 6 months ago. I actually had that conversation with myself today, and that's why I'm doing this episode today. Is if I had started back in May or June, I'm like, wow, if I had decided to take medication to help with weight loss, where would I be? Would I be 10, 15 pounds lighter, even 20? To me, that would be wonderful. I mean, just to feel have energy again, just to appreciate what you already have. And I've been the type of person who've always been confident. I've always loved myself. It was never about not. It was never about, oh, I look horrible, so I don't love myself. I've never had those thoughts. I've always truly loved myself. And at the same time, I also said, I can love myself and I can still want to look and feel better too. And so the reason why I'm doing this episode is to really help and inspire and empower women. Anyone who is watching this, that you have the right to choose what is best for your body. And people are always going to have their opinions. No matter what you do as a woman, you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. So you might as well damn it all and do what is best for your body. And the best way to do this is to get educated and to become better formed and empower yourself to decide what is best for you. No one can decide what is best for you. You get to decide what is best for you. And part of forging your own path and owning it includes your body. Owning the fact that you want what is best for you. No matter what happens, again, people are always going to have their judgments. And regardless of what, ultimately, you have the ultimate decision for yourself. And so I wanted to share this story about being in your late 30s, early 40s, your body changing as a woman, being informed, acknowledging and saying, my body's changing, something's going, and not gaslighting yourself, not thinking that you're crazy, because you do know your body best. You know your body best. And if something doesn't feel right, listen to it. Other people are going to challenge you, doctors are going to challenge you, and it's about finding the right doctor to listen to you. You don't have to be gaslighted. You don't have to tolerate that. You don't have to tolerate people not listening to you, making judgments, telling you about these things. You have the right to voice your thoughts, your opinions, your concerns, and what is best for you. And especially when it comes to your body. And you know your body best, and you own your body. You own your body. You own it. Own that body of yours. And that owning your body is up to you to decide how you want to own your body. I'm owning my body in a different way, and you can own your body in a different way. And so I hope my story here helps empower all of you to decide what is best for you. If you want to take medications to help you, go ahead, take medications. If you feel that doing surgery is the best thing for you, go ahead, do surgery. Do whatever it is that you know that is best for you. Just become educated and being informed about both the risks, the side effects, the positives, and what are the potential outcomes. And so, again, I hope this story helps. I hope my story empowers all of you. And I hope that my story can help all of you. And forging your own path means lots of different things. And owning it means lots of different ways too. And so I leave you here to empower you to forge your own path and to own it. So, again, this is Paya from Your Own Pathway, where I empower you to forge your own path and to own it. So, join me next time, and thank you all for listening to my story. And I hope this story empowers you to not wait and do whatever it is that you want to do. So, all right, take care.